The Sutton family reunion was in full swing at my uncle's sprawling estate, crystal glasses clinking as relatives bragged about their latest achievements. I stood in a corner, sipping champagne and watching the familiar scene unfold. 20 years of the same routine, the same hierarchy, the same dismissive glances thrown my way. Olivia. My cousin Victoria's voice cut through the chatter, dripping with false sweetness. I almost didn't recognize you. Still wearing department store clothes. I smoothed down my intentionally understated black dress, hiding a smile. The Chanel label would have shocked her, but I'd learned long ago not to flaunt my success. Besides, tonight wasn't about designer labels. It was about something much more satisfying. "Hello, Victoria," I replied calmly. "Congratulations on your promotion to CEO of Sutton Industries." She preened, adjusting her diamond necklace. "Thank you, though it's hardly surprising. Daddy always said I was born for this role. The board's announcement tomorrow is just a formality." What she didn't know was that I'd been in that board meeting just yesterday, hidden behind the title of an anonymous major shareholder. The announcement tomorrow would be quite different from what she expected. "And what are you doing these days?" Victoria's husband James joined us, champagne sloshing slightly in his glass. "Still doing that. What was it?" "Consulting." I nodded, thinking of the empire I'd built while they weren't paying attention. "Something like that." "Poor Olivia," Victoria stage whispered to James. "Still a nobody after all these years. Remember when she turned down that junior position at Sutton Industries to find her own path?" I remembered it well. 10 years ago, Uncle Henry had offered me an entry-level job, presenting it as some great favor to his disappointing niece. I'd declined, knowing I was worth more than being Victoria's coffee girl. Speaking of Sutton Industries, James swirled his drink. "Did you hear about our latest acquisition? $3 billion deal." Victoria orchestrated the whole thing. What they didn't know was that the acquisition was actually a desperate attempt to save their failing company. I'd seen the real numbers. Sutton Industries was hemorrhaging money, and tomorrow's board meeting would reveal just how deep the trouble went. "Fascinating," I murmured, checking my phone discreetly. A message from my CFO flashed across the screen. "Everything's in place for tomorrow. They don't stand a chance." "Oh, darling." My Aunt Margaret swept over, air-kissing Victoria's cheeks. "The Times wants to do a profile on you. Youngest female CEO in the industry. We're so proud." I bit back a laugh. At 35, I'd been running my own multi-billion-dollar company for 5 years, but they still saw me as the family failure. "Olivia's here too," Victoria pointed out, her tone suggesting this was somehow remarkable. "Still trying to make it on her own. So brave." Aunt Margaret's smile tightened. "Yes, well, not everyone can be successful. Some people just aren't cut out for big business. No shame in that, dear." The irony was almost too much. While they'd been playing corporate politics at Sutton Industries, I'd built Phoenix Enterprises into one of the most powerful consulting firms in the world. Our latest valuation put us at $12 billion, nearly 4 times what Sutton Industries was worth, even before their current crisis. "Did you at least find a nice boyfriend?" Aunt Margaret pressed. "You're not getting any younger, you know." "I focus on my work," I replied simply, thinking of the string of acquisition offers I'd turned down from tech giants and Fortune 500 companies. "Work." Victoria laughed loudly, drawing attention from nearby relatives. "Is that what you call it? Sitting in that tiny office pretending to run a business?" That tiny office was actually the entire top floor of downtown's most prestigious building. I owned the building along with half the commercial real estate in the business district, including, ironically, the building that housed Sutton Industries headquarters. "You know," James leaned in, his breath heavy with expensive scotch, "I'm sure Victoria could find something for you at Sutton. Entry level, of course, but it's better than whatever you're doing now." I checked my phone again. Another message, this time from my lawyer. "Contracts are ready. The trap is set." "Thank you," I smiled politely, "but I'm quite happy where I am." "Olivia," Uncle Henry's booming voice joined the conversation. "Come here, girl. Victoria, tell your cousin about the merger. Show her what real success looks like." Victoria launched into a detailed explanation of Sutton Industries' supposedly brilliant strategy. I listened patiently, knowing that their entire plan was built on sand. The merger they were so proud of was with a shell company, my shell company, though they didn't know it yet. It's quite impressive, I said when she finished. Though I've heard some concerns about the financials. Victoria's perfectly sculpted eyebrows drew together. Concerns? What concerns? Oh, just market rumors, I shrugged. I'm sure it's nothing. James grabbed Victoria's arm. Don't listen to her. What would she know about high-level corporate dealings? If only they knew that tomorrow, every financial news outlet would be running stories about how the mysterious CEO of Phoenix Enterprises had orchestrated the most brilliant corporate takeover in recent history. More champagne. A waiter appeared with a fresh tray. I noticed his earpiece and hidden badge, one of my security team, placed here to watch for any signs that the Suttons suspected what was coming. You know what your problem is, Olivia? Victoria set down her glass, swaying slightly. You never learn to accept your place. Some people are meant to lead, others to follow. You're clearly a follower. I thought about the 300 employees who reported directly to me, the global operations I managed, the billions in revenue I generated annually. Perhaps you're right, I said mildly. Of course I'm right. She gestured expansively. Look at this estate, this legacy. I'm about to become the CEO of a $3 billion company. What do you have? A small consulting business no one's ever heard of. The waiter caught my eye, giving a subtle nod. Everything was proceeding according to plan. It's not too late, Aunt Margaret patted my arm condescendingly. Victoria could help you. Maybe start you in the mailroom. The mailroom? Victoria scoffed. Please, Mother. She'd have to prove herself first. Maybe start as my personal assistant. The room erupted in laughter. Even distant cousins I barely knew joined in, eager to curry favor with the family's rising star. I smiled, thinking of the documents waiting in my office. Tomorrow they would learn that their precious company's survival depended entirely on my signature. The laughter would stop very quickly then. Oh look, James pointed to the massive TV in Uncle Henry's study, visible through the open doors. They're running the story about Victoria's CEO appointment early. Everyone turned to watch, but I already knew what was coming. I timed it perfectly. The news anchor's voice cut through the party chatter. Breaking news in the business world. Sutton Industries, the family-owned corporation valued at $3 billion, is reportedly facing a major crisis. Sources say the company's recent merger attempt was with a shell corporation, leaving them exposed to a hostile takeover. The champagne glass slipped from Victoria's hand, shattering on the marble floor. But this was just the beginning. Tomorrow they would learn exactly who was behind it all, and the true meaning of success would become crystal clear. The silence that followed the news report was deafening. Uncle Henry fumbled for the remote, turning up the volume as the anchor continued. Financial analysts suggest Sutton Industries may have concealed significant losses over the past year. The company's stock is expected to plummet when markets open tomorrow. This is nonsense. Uncle Henry's face had turned an alarming shade of red. Victoria, call the board. Call our lawyers. Victoria was already frantically dialing, her perfectly manicured nails trembling. It's going to voicemail. Why isn't anyone answering? I knew exactly why. The board members were all in emergency meetings with their respective lawyers, preparing for tomorrow's reckoning. My team had made sure every major player had received detailed documentation of Sutton Industries' financial mismanagement just hours ago. James, Victoria turned to her husband, panic creeping into her voice. Call your contacts at the merger company. There must be some mistake. I hid my smile behind my champagne glass. The merger company, officially listed as Global Dynamics Holdings, was one of my shell corporations. They'd be calling for quite a while. Everyone out. Uncle Henry bellowed to the extended family members who were watching the drama unfold with poorly concealed interest. Family meeting. Now. As cousins and distant relatives filed out, whispering among themselves, Victoria grabbed my arm. That includes you, Olivia. This is for immediate family only. Actually, I said quietly, I should probably stay. And why is that? She sneered, some of her old confidence returning. Going to offer business advice from your vast experience running a tiny consulting firm? Before I could respond, James burst back into the room, his face ashen. The merger company, it's not real. It's a shell corporation owned by someone called He consulted his phone. Phoenix Enterprises. Victoria rolled her eyes. So find out who owns Phoenix Enterprises and fix this. That's the thing, James swallowed hard. No one knows who owns it. The CEO is anonymous, some kind of business genius who's been buying up companies left and right. They own half the commercial real estate in the city, including... He paused, looking sick. Including our headquarters building. What? Uncle Henry roared. Since when? Since last year, I said calmly. The rent increase notice should be arriving tomorrow. Every head in the room swiveled toward me. How would you know that? Victoria's voice had dropped to a whisper. I set down my champagne glass and pulled out my phone, opening my banking app. Because I'm the one who bought it. The room went completely still. You. James laughed nervously. Don't be ridiculous. That building sold for $300 million. Actually, it was $320 million, I corrected. I liked the view. Uncle Henry stepped forward, his face dangerous. Stop playing games, Olivia. This isn't funny. Oh, I agree. I turned my phone to show them the screen displaying my personal account balance. This hasn't been funny for a very long time. Victoria grabbed the phone, her face draining of color as she read the number. 9 digits. Before the decimal point. That's not possible, she stammered. The consulting firm you've been mocking for years? I took my phone back. That's just a front. I'm the founder and CEO of Phoenix Enterprises. We're worth about $12 billion at last valuation, though with tomorrow's acquisition, that number should go up significantly. James collapsed into a nearby chair. Acquisition. Sutton Industries, I smiled. Or what's left of it after your creative accounting comes to light. Creative? How do you know about that? Uncle Henry's voice shook. I've had my eye on this company for years. Watching, waiting, gathering evidence. Those shell companies you've been using to hide losses? I own them all. The offshore accounts. The mysterious major shareholder who's been buying up stock through different entities? Hello. Victoria's legs gave out and she sank onto a leather sofa. Why? Why? I laughed softly. 10 years ago you offered me an entry-level position telling me I should be grateful for the opportunity. That same year I was already worth $50 million from my first tech company sale. But you never bothered to ask what I was really doing, did you? Too busy looking down on the family failure. We can fix this, Uncle Henry stepped forward, his tone suddenly conciliatory. We're family after all. Whatever you want, a position on the board, shares in the company. The company? I raised an eyebrow. You mean the company that's about to be revealed as functionally bankrupt? The one that needs $1 billion injection just to stay afloat. I paused. The one that now belongs to me? Belongs to no. Victoria stood up, her voice shrill. The board would never allow it. The board already has. That meeting tomorrow you were so excited about. They're not announcing you as CEO. They're announcing the hostile takeover by Phoenix Enterprises. Your father's signature was the last one I needed, which he gave me 3 days ago, thinking he was approving a routine merger document. Uncle Henry fell into his chair, the fight draining from his face. It's not possible. Oh, it's very possible. I walked to the window looking out over the estate. You know what's interesting? This estate? I own it too. Bought it last month when the bank was about to foreclose. You've been living here on my charity for weeks. Victoria made a choking sound. The cars in the driveway. Leased through one of my companies. The art on these walls. Borrowed from my private collection. I turned back to face them. Your entire world has belonged to me for quite some time. You just didn't know it. What do you want? James asked, his voice barely a whisper. Want? I smiled. I have everything I want. Tomorrow Phoenix Enterprises will acquire Sutton Industries. The board will announce a complete restructuring. And you'll all be looking for new jobs. You can't do this to us. Victoria stood up, her voice breaking. We're family. Family. I picked up my purse, Hermes, though they'd probably assumed it was a knockoff. Was it family when you told the entire country club I was a failure? When you made me eat at the children's table at every family event until I was 30? When you sent me a job offer for the mailroom last Christmas as a joke? Silence. The company needs a signature to survive, I continued. One signature on one document, releasing emergency funds to cover the losses you've hidden. That signature belongs to me. Please, Uncle Henry's voice cracked. We'll do anything. Anything. I paused at the door. Like you told me 10 years ago, some people are meant to lead, others to follow. I guess we finally know which is which. I left them there in their borrowed mansion surrounded by borrowed luxury, their empire crumbling around them. My phone buzzed as I reached my car. A message from my CFO. News outlets are prepped for tomorrow. This will be the business story of the year. The next morning, every major financial publication ran the story. Phoenix Enterprises acquires Sutton Industries in dramatic takeover. Victoria's face was everywhere but not how she'd imagined. Instead of celebrating her CEO appointment, the photos showed her leaving the Sutton Industries building, carrying a cardboard box of personal items. Uncle Henry tried calling 17 times. Aunt Margaret sent tearful emails about family loyalty. Victoria showed up at my office building, only to be turned away by security. I sent them each the same response. A framed copy of the business card they'd refused to accept 10 years ago. Olivia Sutton, founder and CEO Phoenix Enterprises. Under each I wrote a personal note. Some people are meant to lead. Others are meant to learn hard lessons about underestimating quiet girls with big dreams. 1 month later, I received an invitation to another family reunion. This time it was being held at a modest restaurant instead of the mansion I now owned. I decided to attend wearing the same understated black dress. The atmosphere was drastically different. Gone were the boasts about business deals and corporate successes. Victoria sat in a corner, her designer clothes replaced by department store brands. James had taken a middle management position at a small firm. Uncle Henry and Aunt Margaret had downsized to a condo. Olivia, Victoria approached me, her voice small. I'm sorry. I looked at my cousin, the one who had spent years making me feel small, who had laughed at my dreams and mocked my ambitions. Sorry you underestimated me, I asked, or sorry you lost everything because of it? She had no answer. I stood up, addressing the entire family. Success isn't about names or inheritances or family connections. It's about vision, hard work, and believing in yourself even when no one else will. I paused. Remember that next time you're tempted to call someone a nobody. As I left the restaurant, my phone buzzed with breaking news. Phoenix Enterprises announces new CEO of Sutton Division. The photo showed my newly appointed chief executive, Victoria's former assistant, the one she'd always treated with the same condescension she'd shown me. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just about winning. It's about changing the entire game. And sometimes the signature they need most isn't on a check or a contract. It's on a lesson they'll never forget. As for that tiny consulting firm they loved to mock, it just acquired its 20th company. But who's counting?